Welcome to the heart-pounding countdown of the greatest playoff players in MLB history. With the playoffs in full swing, we thought it would be the perfect time to revisit some moments in MLB history that will bring back memories for some and spark new interest in the greatest players that have ever touched the baseball field. Let's get started. First up, we have Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, who proudly occupies the number 10 spot. Reggie was more than just a baseball player, he was an artist, and the postseason was his canvas. It was the autumn stage where he painted his masterpiece, the World Series. Reggie possessed an almost supernatural ability to channel his emotions into spectacular home runs when it mattered most. Whether it was the 77 and 78 championships with the Yankees or his jaw-dropping 3-homer performance in Game 6 of the 1977 World Series, Reggie's emotion-fueled swings sent shockwaves around the baseball world. Each swing felt like an explosion as it catapulted off the bat, and his iconic nickname, Mr. October, says it all. He didn't just play the game, he lived it, felt it, and embodied the spirit of October baseball. Let's now take a deep breath and move on to number 9 on our list. Sandy Koufax, the left arm of God, a pitcher whose emotion was concealed behind his calm demeanor but erupted like a dormant volcano on the mound. Koufax was the definition of a stoic warrior. His emotions were concealed behind his game face, a serene mask that belied the tempest within. It was only when the pressure reached its zenith that Sandy would unleash his emotional fury. The 1965 World Series was the stage for one of his most legendary outbursts. Pitching Game 7 on just 2 days' rest, he faced an excruciating battle against the Minnesota Twins. Despite the odds, he refused to give in. Koufax's grit and tenacity took over, and he threw a complete game shutout. The raw emotion he displayed as he raised his arms in triumph after the final out is forever etched in the hearts of baseball fans. Koufax demonstrated that sometimes the quietest players possess the loudest emotions, a hurricane of intensity that transformed the baseball diamond into his personal battlefield. Now let's unveil number 8 in our countdown. Captain Clutch, Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, aka Captain Clutch, was the perfection of grace under pressure. Jeter's emotions didn't explode, they flowed steadily, like a river of confidence and leadership. When we think of Jeter, we envision unforgettable moments. His flip play against the Oakland A's in the 2001 ALDS was an act of instinct and precision. His dive into the stands to make an incredible catch was not just a play, it was a declaration. It screamed, "I will do whatever it takes to win." It showcased his emotion, a unique blend of calm and steely concentration. But one moment stands out above all, his 3,000th hit, a home run. It was more than a milestone, it was an emotional masterpiece. To do it in front of his fans at Yankee Stadium was poetry in motion, a bond between a player and a city that words can barely describe. As he rounded the bases, there was an unspoken understanding between Jeter and the fans, a shared emotion that united the entire stadium. Jeter wasn't just a player, he was the heart and soul of the game. Babe Ruth, the Great Bambino, our number 7. Ruth's presence on the field wasn't just a physical one, it was a tidal wave of emotion that swept up everyone around him. His larger-than-life personality was matched only by his colossal power. In the 1926 World Series, he cemented himself as a legend with a 3-home-run game, an emotional spectacle that defied belief. The sheer exhilaration of witnessing Ruth launch these moonshots left fans in a state of awe. Then there was the called shot in the 1932 World Series. Whether he truly called it or not is a subject of debate, but the emotion of the moment remains undeniable. It was a fusion of swagger and brilliance, an emotional high that few players have ever reached. As the fans roared and the emotion swelled in the stadium, Babe Ruth was a giant amongst men. He was more than just a player, he was a cultural phenomenon, and still is to this day. Now we pivot to number 6 on our list, Mariano Rivera, the Sandman, a pitcher whose emotion was as relentless as his cutter. Mariano Rivera was an artist of emotion in a medium of precision. This dude was basically unhittable, and if you did hit it, there was a good chance that you were standing there with a shattered bat and hurt hands. His cutter was like hitting a bowling ball. Rivera's ability to remain composed under the intense pressure of the game was something to behold. You couldn't say that about who he faced, though. Players would basically walk up to the plate defeated before they stepped into the box. In 1998, Rivera had an astonishing performance in the World Series. He saved all 4 games, and the final out of the series was a strikeout that released a torrent of emotion. Rivera, known for his humility and respect for the game, wasn't one to showboat, but that moment was different. It was a rare glimpse into the emotional depths of the man they called the Sandman. Number 5 on our countdown is Johnny Bench, the catcher's crown. Johnny Bench's presence behind the plate wasn't just about calling pitches. It was about commanding a game and instilling confidence in his pitchers. In the 1975 and 1976 World Series, Bench showcased his brilliance. His bond with the Big Red Machine pitchers was a symphony of signals and trust, and when he stepped up to the plate, he could evoke emotion in the blink of an eye. His clutch moments, such as his game-winning home run in the 1976 World Series, sent shockwaves of emotion throughout the world of baseball. He wasn't just an emotional leader, he was a captain of conviction, and his impact on the game endures to this day. As we continue our journey through the best players in playoff history, we arrive at number 4, the incomparable Bob Gibson, the Dominator. Bob Gibson was a warrior, a player whose emotional intensity made the mound his battleground. In the 1967 World Series, Gibson's 17 strikeouts in Game 1 set a record that still stands to this day. He wasn't just striking out batters, he was conquering them. His emotion was a controlled fire, a burning desire to win. Gibson's 1967 World Series performance was nothing short of legendary. He pitched 3 complete games on 3 days' rest, including a decisive Game 7 victory. His emotional intensity became a standard for pitchers who followed. One of the best stories I've heard about Bob Gibson was he actually needed glasses to pitch, but he liked the advantage it gave him not to have any. He thought glaring into the plate to get the sign and having to squint gave him a mental advantage over his opposition. I could see why. His fastball would dominate the batter, and if one got away, then, oh well, pick it out of your ear and take your base. Now we're about to dive into the realm of Albert Pujols, the Machine. Albert Pujols wasn't just a hitter, he was a symphony of power and poise. He could channel his emotion into baseball brilliance. In the 2011 World Series, the stage for Pujols was set. In Game 3, he became only the 3rd player in history to hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. The sheer emotion of the moment, the roar of the crowd, and the electricity in the air were palpable. Pujols' versatility was his emotional strength. He was a player who could rise to any occasion, whether at first base or at the plate. His emotional dexterity made him a playoff legend. Number 2 on our countdown is Kirk Gibson, the Bulldog. Let's journey to the 1988 World Series, where Kirk Gibson comes to bat with a torn hamstring. Gibson's physical limitations due to injuries didn't deter him. They only fueled his emotional fire. When he hobbled to the plate as a pinch hitter in Game 1 of the 1988 World Series, the world held its breath. His emotional determination was palpable as he faced the seemingly insurmountable. The crack of the bat and the subsequent emotional eruption in Dodger Stadium created a moment of raw emotion and willpower. It wasn't just a home run, it was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a symphony of passion and courage that echoed across the baseball world. The Dodgers went on to win the World Series, and Kirk Gibson's legend was formed. And now, we're ready to unveil the best player in playoff history. At number 1, we have David Ortiz, Big Papi, the heartbeat of the Boston Red Sox. His iconic moment in the 2004 ALCS against the Yankees wasn't just a home run, it was a spark that ignited a historic comeback. The sound in Fenway Park was deafening. It wasn't just the sound of the crowd, it was the collective heartbeat of a city. The Red Sox' historic comeback in 2004, fueled by Ortiz's emotional heroics, isn't just a story of baseball, it's a story of heart and soul. It's a narrative of never giving up, of defying the odds, and the emotional power of a team and its fans. Ortiz's leadership and power hitting were instrumental in that historic 2004 championship and the 2 more titles the Red Sox would win in 2007 and 2013. He was named the World Series MVP in 2013, capping off his remarkable journey. David Ortiz was a beloved figure in Boston. His charisma and boundless enthusiasm made him more than an athlete. He was the city's emotional heartbeat. The emotional outpouring when the Red Sox retired his number 34 jersey wasn't just a farewell, it was a love letter to the city he gave everything to. So there you have it, the top 10 players in postseason history from Baseball Spark. That's a wrap on this special edition of Baseball Spark. Stepping away from the mic, but not from the action, we'll catch you in the next inning.